House to Home, brought to you by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.
All right, everybody, we continue our ongoing series on property on Guam, and many of you have been writing in. We've gotten a fair amount of feedback from you about what exactly undivided interest is. Now, of course, we bring in the experts on this because I certainly could not answer this question myself. Gina and Liz from RE/MAX Diamond Realty. It's Liz and Gina sometimes, Gina and Liz and everything like that. Nice that you switch the chairs once again.
People get us mixed up that way too, so don't worry.
Okay, well, one thing that people get mixed up often is undivided interest. It can be a very complicated situation. So what is undivided interest, Gina?
It's basically when a group of people, whether they're related or not, but when a group of people own property together, jointly. So if there's 8 of you, then you have 1/8 undivided interest. So it's not really cut up. You just all get to share in it. So it's like you're all standing there holding on to that piece of pie, all of you.
Like a parent or grandparent may have deeded it to all of their descendants.
Yeah, like my mother, for instance, I shared that. She did not designate who she wanted the property to go to. So in her passing, we all own her house with 1/7 undivided interest. And until we go to court to get the court to clean that up, we all pretty much own 1/7 of that house. And I was just explaining to you a little earlier about, it's like sharing an ice cream cone. It's always messy, and nobody's ever really satisfied with that, right?
And debatably gross.
Yeah. Never works out well.
Yeah, so what are some of the risks? Because obviously if it's like maybe even a 4-bedroom house and it's split between, say, 7 people, you can't exactly do anything with that house.
That's right. The problem there is, let's say one person wants to get their money out of it. They can't do anything unless everyone agrees. So if all 7 parties agree to sell, all 7 parties have to sign that agreement to sell the property. If just one disagrees, it's a problem. Now, if the one party wants to sell, 1 or 2 of the other siblings could buy out their interest. So again, as Gina puts it, it does get complicated, and all parties have to be in agreement, otherwise everything stops. So in selling their interest, then the other party gets that additional 1/7, so they'll get 2/7 of their share if they bought out their siblings' share of the property.
Okay, that's something I want to talk about, because by default, I guess the property would be divvied up completely equally, right?
So that's what undivided interest is.
However, here on Guam we have, say Pete is the oldest of all the siblings, and then maybe Carlito was the one who was closest to the person, but Tun Mike is actually like the one who deserves it the most and everything like that. And it can get kind of complicated like that.
Who makes that judgment call? That's the problem.
Right.
When you own it in undivided interest, who is going to make that judgment call? Because the judge doesn't know that Tun Wan was, treated their mom the best, or Maria was always there taking care of the house or the land or whatever. Who's going to make that call? That's not how they're going to do it. If it's equal ownership, undivided interest, then everybody has a fair share unless something in writing states otherwise. But the thing is, like for instance, with the home, could 7 people with their families live in one home? No, you can't. So if they don't agree, then it becomes a real complicated mess. And Liz is talking about, so now how does that affect value? And here's where the problem lies. If you all own property in undivided interest, could you sell that interest to somebody else? Well, very unlikely. I wouldn't want to step in and own property with you and your brothers and sisters. It's like, what's in it for me? Why would I want to spend money to be part of that pot, right?
Of a collective, yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't work. It only works if one of the siblings says, okay, listen, I'll buy your share and I'll wait until everybody else wants to sell me their share. But then what happens to the property if you can't really use it? I mean, who's really going to use it? If you rent it out, how's that going to work? Who's responsible to maintain it? Who talks to the tenant? Who collects the rent and shares it? It's a mess.
It's a mess. And it's immaterial as to who took care of Tun Wan. So for example, if there's 7 of them and one sibling took care of Tun Wan prior to his passing, but it still wasn't deeded to that individual, or maybe Tun Wan said, yes, I'll take care of you, but if there's nothing in writing, that could be disputed. So unless he puts it in his will somewhere and registers it, notarizes it, give it to an attorney.
This was my favorite.
This is my favorite child, therefore they're entitled to 1/2, or so that's out the window. I mean, unless all the siblings, like in Gina's case, were willing to say, okay, we want to give it to our older brother, and everyone quit claims it. So even though there's 7 undivided interests, there's a way of settling it if all parties decide, let's give it to so-and-so. And if everybody quit claims it and gives it, they're good.
Is that the best way to do it? We got to go to commercial break, but very quickly, is that the best way to do things, where you basically say one person on the books owns it? If the property should get sold, it's up to that person to kind of like divvy out the money equally from that part, you know?
Yeah, deciding who the property goes to is the
Gentleman's
best way to
agreement
do
almost.
it. Well,
Yeah.
no, it's got to be in writing. In
Writing.
real estate,
Sure.
in writing,
Everything
in
in
writing,
writing.
in writing. Yeah.
Cover your butt.
Well, where's the best place to go for more information about this? Clearly, you know, Wikipedia, Google.
You know, it's kind of more or less a legal issue, so you can go
Go to your
consult
attorney.
your attorney, and if not, you call your favorite real estate person, and if you don't have a favorite yet, you can call
Call
us.
us.
Well, you two are my favorite, and we certainly appreciate all the information you've been giving us.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so,
you.
so
Thank
they are
you.
my favorite, and all of us here at KUN, but you're certainly welcome to avail of their vast information. So we will be right back after this. I'm going to ask some questions about undivided interest. So.